We're back on Poke Nation. Jim Gazzolo, Heath Schwer, coming off of a wild weekend of everything. Coach, I got to ask you this. Playoff expansion in college football. We now have a fight between two guys, the two power guys.
For sure.
The Big Ten, the SEC. Two men are deciding all of college football right now.
Correct. It's wild.
Do we go to 24 teams? Do we go to 16 teams and then to 24 teams? What are you hearing?
Well, I'm hearing what you're hearing, right? There's obviously, there's differences in opinion. Personally, I can see a merit of going to 16 first and then 24 just because of TV, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Eventually, we're going to get to 24. And outside of the playoff and maybe one or two of the bowls, in my opinion, I think the bowls are obsolete.
I've said all along, I've said for the last couple of years, let's move them to Labor Day weekend. Start the season with bowl games.
Not a bad idea.
Then you can set up matchups you want.
Not a bad idea.
Fans would still have the weekend to get there. Yep. It's still at the end at summer, so you'd have some travel. It'd be, I would love to see that. And then you keep them relative, important, and moving on.
It's true because, at the end of the day, I mean, you turn on TV on the 27th of December and see a bowl game against, a couple group of five schools. And, I mean, there's 2,000 people there.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's losing money.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the bowl's losing money, the schools are losing money, and that...
It's just a made-for-TV event.
Yeah, it's an unsustainable model.
So this is started on Thursday, go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday on that first week, and you're in.
Yeah.
But the NFL hasn't started yet. You've kicked off your season.
I think it's a really good idea. But the big question is do you go to 16 or do you go to 24 first? I don't know. I would bet that we'll probably go to 16.
Oh, you go to 16 first, yeah.
But I also understand just rip the Band-Aid off and figure it out. But there's a lot of moving parts that people don't really realize. Like, we're going to have Megan Soileau on here a little bit talking about academics within the athletic program. It's the same thing when you're talking about that. Like, there's so many moving parts behind the scenes that people don't know that you have to figure out. Like, okay, well, TV, how many are we going to get in? Who's going to host them? Like, all that. I mean, it's a lot to figure out.
Well, I think it's simple as you just say, we're going to drop the conference championship games.
100%. Yeah.
We're going to start that weekend. We're going to go through. We're going to have the championship, a super New Year's Eve or New Year's Day doubleheader for our semifinals. You finish it on January 9th. The portal is opened up the same day, but there's only 4 teams worried about the portal.
Good point.
You're in pretty good shape. And most coaches have already found new jobs by then.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, there's going to have to be a change because they're not going to sit there and say and allow James Madison, if you will, to be in the playoffs and Notre Dame not.
No.
I mean, that's happened one time, and it will
never happen again because the TV numbers show it will never happen again.
That's right.
With that, it just so everybody's clear, the SEC wants to put it to 16 and keep it at 16 for indefinitely. The Big Ten says 16 for 2 years, then to 24. I think if the SEC expands and gets 4 more teams, they would probably say, let's go to 24 too. It's just a matter of that. But it's an interesting thing because it does go into, are we going to see the NCAA tournament expand 4 teams?
I think that's inevitable too. Personally, I think that's inevitable. And I think that you're just going to add 2 more games or even 4 more games on that Tuesday, right, or Wednesday. I think that's inevitable. And do I love it? There's a part of me that it says, hey, gosh, it's really good. Let's not ruin it. The difference between the NCAA tournament, in my opinion, is every conference has, outside of the Ivy League, has a conference tournament, which is quote unquote March Madness.
Yeah.
And
so essentially everybody makes it.
That's
everybody
right.
has a chance.
That's right. Everyone, going into March has a chance, if you will, to make the NCAA tournament. So there's a part of me that says, hey, let's just leave it. But I also understand TV. I understand revenue. I understand all that. So, but do I think it's going to expand? I think it's inevitable.
Well, if that were to happen, would you want to see you don't want to see 12 teams from the Southland get in the tournament?
No. I mean, look, I think that realistically, if you expand the NCAA tournament by 4 or 8 teams, I think the majority of them are going to be, the 500 Big 12 team gets in the NCAA tournament. I don't think it's going to be the second place team in the Southland. I just don't think that's.
Although, last week, Joe Lenardi had 2 Southland teams in the tournament.
It's wild, right?
That's probably not the case now.
Right,
right. But that would have been wild, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and it's great to, be thought of like that and as a league. I mean, I think it just goes to show how far we've come as a league. And, look, I mean, winning the conference is a lot harder now than it was Will Wade's first year or Coach Wade's second year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
you're a prime example of that.
100%.
You've lost at Incarnate Word. You've lost at RGV.
Yeah.
And you're technically a better basketball team probably than you have been.
Yeah.
This is a league. You've created a monster that you are now paying for. Just remember that. If anybody has to blame it, blame this guy right here. When we come back, we're going to talk academics with Megan Soileau after this on Poke Nation.
What makes having a local lawyer important is it's all about relationships. When judges know the lawyer and the lawyer has established credibility over time with the court, they know enough to trust what you're telling them. Lake Charles must be a wonderful place because now lawyers all over the state claim that Lake Charles is their hometown. I thought you could only have one hometown, and I know this is ours.
Well, it's game day at the Legacy Center, and the McNeese Cowboys are warmed up and ready to play. Cowboys have a new player this year, number 22, Katie Ferdinandson. This girl loves basketball and McNeese so much she can't wait to get out on the floor. And we're off. She made tips to Brewer, and there goes Katie.
Ferdinandson Financial Group supports the McNeese Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to do some really big things. Really big.
McNeese athletes bring big energy, big plays, and big spirit to every game. That's why Lakeside is proud to be such a huge fan. We're a hometown team too, in the business of backing big dreams across our community every day. And we always bank on big wins with McNeese Sports. Go big with Lakeside and McNeese.
Join Don's Wash Club and score big on clean rides all season. Unlock discounts on washes, interior cleanings, oil changes, and more. Whether you're tailgating or heading home after the game, keep your ride looking like a pro. Not ready to commit? No worries. Scan the QR code on screen to see what we're all about. Enjoy your ride with Don's on McNeese, Ryan, and Nelson.
Welcome back to Poke Nation. It is a pleasure to have Megan Soileau, Assistant AD for Student Athlete Services. Megan, great to see you.
Yes,
Welcome back to Poke Nation.
Thank you.
So we are a day away from school starting, second semester. Let's talk about
the students coming in yet?
Let's talk about what all you got going on right now.
So right now the football transfer portal just closed on this past weekend, and we are still navigating a few things of bringing in some transfers, getting their academics all squared away, applications, registration, and whatnot. So we have a team meeting later today with the team, and we will, we'll get the crew ready to go and get them started for school tomorrow. And then really for all of our other sports, we've got baseball and softball already started training, tennis started training, beach volleyball, indoor track. So all those student athletes are already ready, registered, ready to go, especially with this extended winter break that we had. We actually got more training in before school started, which was great.
Go ahead.
How's Christmas?
I don't know.
Did you have a break?
Not much.
Yeah.
Not much. My phone was blowing up all Christmas break between our guys that were Cowboys entering the portal, asking questions, and then us closing up shop with our junior college recruiting as well. So we hit it hard before Christmas with all the JUCO transfers, trying to lock all them in.
Yeah, one thing people don't understand is just because kids go into the portal doesn't mean you're done with them,
No.
because you've got to make sure all their transcripts go to the whatever schools are going to, because they may have 4 or 5 schools asking for their transcripts.
Yeah, and when they go in the portal, there's also navigations of, are you eligible? Do you have stipulations to your eligibility? Do you need a waiver, an extension? We dealt with a lot lately with, do I have a 5th year? Do I not? And so we were doing, myself, Bridget Martin, John Limke, we were dealing with a lot of waiver requests, right, leading up into Christmas time.
Yeah.
And we did a lot.
And people out there will say, well, if they go in the portal, well, screw them. We don't need to worry about that. But the problem is APR.
Yeah.
Right? So we are responsible for them to leave eligible. If not, we lose points, if you will. And that's where we were 5 years ago when we went on APR probation. And between that and the Hurricanes, I've always said it's like the death penalty.
Yeah.
It is.
And so now we're coming out of it, but we wouldn't have came out of it and be where we are without Megan and her team. And I mean that. But talk about this, Megan, because I'm so glad that you're our guest, because there's so much that the normal fan just doesn't realize. So when someone transfers here, okay, talk about that process. You get their transcripts, right? And you talk about that whole thing about how to certify them and getting them in classes and degrees and what percentage towards degree, all that.
So obviously when they're coming out of the transfer portal, the first thing we're looking at is a tracer. We send a tracer back to the school that they're being released from, and that school has to determine, are they eligible to transfer? Are they eligible to leave the school that they're coming from? Or are there stipulations to their eligibility that we would have to navigate? And that would include, like I said, the waivers or anything 9-hour rule, especially for football. So there's all these things to somewhat negotiate with their previous schools. Are they a graduate? How, where they're at? And then once we identify where they need to be with their eligibility and those stipulations, we start calling campus. We start communicating with the different departments on campus. Is this going to be an admissions issue? Is this going to be maybe an issue with a major? We've talked about it before. Of a lot of times when they transfer, they have an idea of what exact major they want to do, and sometimes transferring, you lose some credits, which would make you ineligible in that major and force you into a major that you may not want. So there's a little bit of softening and trying to fluff and present things as well as possible to earn our transfers.
So let's talk about that for a minute, because I don't think a lot of people understand. So when you transfer, every class is not going to transfer to every school, right? So you could go in theoretically and say, hey, I want to be a business major and major in business for 2 or 3 years. And then you transfer and you get to a place, even like McNeese, and our business department says, well, we don't take this, we don't take this. So if you want to be eligible, you're going to have to go major in general studies. Correct?
Yes, and we've done that. We've had that plenty, especially the more you transfer, which a couple of years ago we saw. I believe that was 3 years ago, Will Wade's first year here, when the multi-transfer became a possibility for everybody. And so when you're transferring even more than once, you're losing a lot more credits. And so as we navigate those things, we've looked at opportunities, because yes, that has happened, but we've looked at opportunities where they go into general studies and they do all the prereqs for the MBA program, so that we can at least give them something fruitful to move forward with and enter into an MBA program that would be something that they would enjoy.
Did the 50 year and talk of the 50 year confuse? Because I heard kids went to the portal and it said number of years eligible, 0.
Yes.
But they were still in the portal.
Yes.
How much did that confuse everything?
So much, so much. And I think there's also, when you're just talking football portal, with that being the active subject, of this time. Football portal has this additional programming that a lot of schools pay for that pulls names out of the portal and does their PFF ratings and all of those things.
it's true.
And this program identifies that they would have a junior college year available and things like that, but it's not coming from the NCAA. So there's a lot of confusion there that was built up. And we even had, we had two of our student athletes that went in without a year of eligibility, even though we advised not to until they communicated with the NCAA. So they are in the portal.
They're in limbo?
They are in limbo waiting for an answer from the NCAA.
When we come back, I want to talk about what's gone on the last 5 years here in academics after this.
What makes having a local lawyer important is it's all about relationships. When judges know the lawyer and the lawyer has established credibility over time with the court, they know enough to trust what you're telling them. Lake Charles must be a wonderful place because now lawyers all over the state claim that Lake Charles is their hometown. I thought you could only have one hometown, and I know this is ours.
Well, it's game day at the Legacy Center, and the McNeese Cowboys are warmed up and ready to play. Cowboys have a new player this year, number 22, Katie Ferdinandson. This girl loves basketball and McNeese so much she can't wait to get out on the floor. And we're off. Shoemate tips the brewer, and there goes Katie.
Ferdinandson Financial Group supports the McNeese Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to do some really big things. Really big.
McNeese athletes bring big energy, big plays, and big spirit to every game. That's why Lakeside is proud to be such a huge fan. We're a hometown team too, in the business of backing big dreams across our community every day. And we always bank on big wins with McNeese Sports. Go big with Lakeside and McNeese.
Join Don's Wash Club and score big on clean rides all season. Unlock discounts on washes, interior cleanings, oil changes, and more. Whether you're tailgating or heading home after the game, keep your ride looking like a pro. Not ready to commit? No worries. Scan the QR code on screen to see what we're all about. Enjoy your ride with Don's on McNeese, Ryan, and Nelson.
We're back with Megan Soileau. The question I have is, when 5 years ago, and last year on the show, I believe it was, we were talking about what a disaster APR was with football.
Disaster.
You were on probation, and how that kind of led to a lot of other things. Talk about the grades after last semester, because everybody's bragging about the grades.
Yes.
So you should take a bow at that, but what was the turnaround?
Gosh, we did a lot of analytics after the APR ban, and we didn't exclude any of the other sports. We obviously focused on football, but we looked at how it also affects our other sports and different things. Obviously, transfer portal, like Heath was mentioning, is a big portion of it. But we saw that our freshman class needed a lot of work and needed a lot more attention to detail of how we onboard them, how we prepare them, and things like that to have a good freshman year. And if you have a good freshman year, your numbers look better after that. So, but yeah, no, we did a lot of analytics, and we focused on, working with departments, having them understand what our goals were on campus, and really we've seen a real fruitful turnaround. All 13 of our programs in the fall saw over 3.0s.
Yeah.
We had our most, I would say, efficient semester. Things like men's basketball not dropping or failing a class is a huge deal. They did not waste a dime on a class. So it's really big that you can go into a semester, complete all of your work, and exit a semester without any issues. And it really helps going into the spring semester with a little bit of less pressure on your back. A goal for us is to always be eligible going into that spring to where we have a lot of flexibility if we need to drop a class or maneuver some things.
And I would say this too, Jim, and she's very, very modest. but no, I mean this sincerely, is that, when you have an issue like that, it's easy just to put your head in the sand and blame the last people, right? The last AD, the last academic person, whatever. But to sit down and say, okay, here's where we're at. How are we going to assess this and make sure that we put the corrective measures in place to not happen again? I think the one thing that, there's a lot of things that Megan and her team has done, but the one thing, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about this, is your relationship with people on campus, right? Because people ask me all the time about, as an AD, what was the biggest thing that you had to learn? And one of them was university, if you will, politics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like being able to understand this person loves athletics, this person really doesn't like athletics. This, like understanding and having real relationships on campus. Talk about how valuable that is.
It's been huge, especially when Dr. Roos was coming through. I've spent hours sitting with deans, department heads, Dr. Roos when he was coming through to navigate and essentially explain why we ask for the things that we ask for. A lot of times when we would ask for things, we get the annoyed response. Yeah, like I don't want to do this for athletics, those types of things. But as we kind of, level the playing field and explain why we ask for these things or explain why we come calling at certain times, I think it allowed them to understand, okay, if we do this, will we see success? And our graduation rate has gone up. Obviously, our team GPAs have gone up, our APR. Football sustained their best APR they've had in probably 8 to 10 years last year, only losing I think 4 or 5 points total, which was huge. Men's basketball scoring a perfect 1,000. So there's things that we're able to turn around and, hey, thank you for that conversation, thank you for that help. Look at what it did for us, and now they start to see, really what it's coming, the equation's starting to play out for them.
One thing is, I got to know is this. When 9 players come into a program from one school, does that make it easier or harder?
That's a good question.
Easy and hard. It just kind of depends on what you're talking about. It's really easy to get all their transcripts really fast. We're just getting them from one place. But it makes things a little bit difficult in the sense of, well, this is how this school did it, and this is how we did it. And I think we deal with this a lot, either from the academic standpoint, administration standpoint of when coaches come in, well, this is how my school operated. And we
I wonder that because when it's 1 or 2 kids trickling in from other places, it's, we do it differently here. When it's basically the entire program coming in and saying, it's almost like, well, you should shift for us.
Yeah, well, we wear blue here, and that's the biggest difference. But no, it made it easy in a lot of standpoints. And plus, they already have a really good structure academically with their team and their expectations, so it really helped in that area. But there were some things that were slightly different, school-wise, administration-wise, from campus that we had to adjust to.
Last question for you is it easier or harder in state to get transfer credits, or does it not really matter?
Much easier. If they're coming from the ULS system, there's a database that we can pull from, and we know exactly how it can transfer, where it can transfer, and things like that. But yes, the further you go, for example, we give AI, we heckle them a lot for this. But the further you go, say into California, the harder it is to transfer in your credits.
I would imagine
very difficult to transfer in California credits.
Megan Soileau's been our guest here talking academics, talking about the rise of academics at McNeese over the last 5 years, which has been a huge turnaround. We'll ask Coach a few last questions after this.
What makes having a local lawyer important is it's all about relationships. When judges know the lawyer and the lawyer has established credibility over time with the court, they know enough to trust what you're telling them. Lake Charles must be a wonderful place because now lawyers all over the state claim that Lake Charles is their hometown. I thought you could only have one hometown, and I know this is ours.
Well, it's game day at the Legacy Center, and the McNeese Cowboys are warmed up and ready to play. Cowboys have a new player this year, number 22, Katie Ferdinandson. This girl loves basketball and McNeese so much she can't wait to get out on the floor. And we're off. She made tips to Brewer, and there goes Katie.
Ferdinandson Financial Group supports the McNeese Cowboys.
We're back. My question to you on the whole academic thing is this. When you took over, how much pressure was on you to turn the academics around? Because there was always the talk about the football program and all this other stuff, but you also came in when it was at its lowest.
For sure. I think the two biggest things that kept me up at night was, number one, a running $3 million deficit that athletics had every single year.
Yeah.
And APR probation, where with football, that postseason ban, and you know, the 20 best players just got up and left.
Yeah.
And so, and then you get hit with the hurricanes, right? So like
Yeah.
it was.
And you know, a lot of people don't understand this. COVID confused everything with transcripts.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And it's been, you know, it's been. I will tell you this, Jim. I really think that our staff, and Megan, and she mentioned Bridget and John Limke, like those guys have done such an amazing job at navigating all the things that are happening within college athletics, right? So, you know, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, and I've really surrounded myself with really, really good people, and Megan obviously is one of the best.
So Thursday night, your women's basketball team goes to Hammond. Do they got a seat for you in Hammond? Are you going?
I don't know. I'm planning on going. Yes.
I think if they do have a seat, it might be electric. It
It ought to be fun. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Have you talked to anybody from down there?
I mean, Jay and I talk a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Because they're struggling women's wise, and you're in first place.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get Christmas cards, and from anyone in Hammond. If I did, I wouldn't open it. But
Well, probably not either.
But no, listen, it's all. I mean, it's competition, and I do have a lot of respect for Jay and what he's done at Southeastern, and I really do. I mean, they've done a lot of really good things.
But this is you're in a time when it comes to the conference where a lot of people are seeing those who are investing and those aren't. Mm-hmm. How do those conversations in rooms go? Because there's got to be some pressure on those guys to invest.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that there's a group of us, a smaller group of us, that are continuing to put pressure on people to do that. I think what you mentioned before, like with, last week, Joe Lenardi had 2 teams in the South. Now, is that ever? I mean, obviously we lost, and the chances of that are probably
Took a
slim.
huge hit.
But just to be mentioned, like, just think about how far we've come.
Yeah.
And if we can just get everyone on board, and I really think there's a chance that, on a given year, that the Southland could get 2 teams in the NCAA tournament. And that would have, if I would have said that 3 years ago, people would have thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it can happen every single year, but I'm saying if the tournament expands, which I think is inevitable, and this league continues to grow, I think on a given year there is a chance.
And the strange thing was that it was an 11 seed and a 14 seed. There was no 16 seeds.
Correct.
So it was not like you were just sneaking in.
That's right. That's right.
And I thought, and I said this 2 weeks ago, and nobody believed me. I thought McNeese had a chance at an 11 seed until the other day. I think you're probably now locked into a 12 if you get in, and I think that. But I thought you had a chance at an 11 seed, and that is a huge jump from where it used to be.
Oh, for sure.
And get your Gatsby in quick. You got 10 seconds.
Gatsby Gala, MAF Gatsby Gala. Tables are going fast. Make sure you get it. It will be the party of the year.
We'll see you next week.